And I think we have started, but I'm not sure because I'm not looking at the right screen. Yes, we have started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on OreAni 2024 Summer Lineup. Woohoo! Small group today. It's just myself and Jessica right now. But I am kind of worried because I don't see any. Oh, there it goes. Finally, I see ourselves on the screen. It was black for a while. But yeah. So, Dragon, I was out there finally becoming a grown up and getting a job and putting in the hours. Now he knows how we suffer. So, it seems like he's been able to keep up with anime at least by looking at his list. So, Dragon, join us when you can. But I don't think he will. We have Albert. He's out and about. He'll probably join us later on if he has time. He's usually, I believe, still working and stuff during this time, right? So, we understand. Do your job. Get paid. Get the anime stuff. I'd like to make a call out to Nick. Nick out there. He actually chatted with us a while ago. He went to a few conventions and he shared some video. It was pretty fun talking with him after a long while. Sean, I think he was in Japan, so he's in the homeland having fun over there. I don't know about Vinny. I haven't heard about Vinny, but I think he was at a ball game yesterday. So with his baseball character, makes sense, I guess. Well, maybe. Have you heard about the Hollow Live characters at the baseball game? Yeah, I guess it was a Dodgers game. I can't remember, but I guess they had Hollow Live characters on their bulletin boards, welcoming everyone and also singing the "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" song. It was a pretty big thing. It was pretty funny. I guess they had a record attendance, and then after the song, I guess they had to come back and won. So they're saying Hollow Live is good luck or something like that. Well, you're in luck because there's actually one this season, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But today, we're going to talk just down the list. We'll probably just make it real quick since it's only two of us. But we got starting off the 2.5 Jigen no Ririsa, also translated to as 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, which I've only seen as a manga beforehand. So I believe there's like way over 100 chapters in the manga, so it's been out there for quite a long time, and it's about, of course, high school students, and cosplay. So the main girl Ririsa really loves to cosplay her favorite character DDL, and as she's going around visiting the school, she happened to notice the manga club and the member being super into the same character. So through this found bondship of we love the same thing, she was hoping to have them help her in her cosplaying and making I guess cosplay ROMs or books or however you want to say it at the Dojin conventions. I'm not too sure how that actually plays out in real life. They do kind of explain it a lot in the manga, but it's been so long since I've read it. But it's surprisingly pretty tame compared to the manga, because the manga is very ecchi and had a lot of like under boob, side boob, and all these panty shots, everything you can think of in these typical ecchi stuff. But they've subdued it a lot in this anime. Yes, and considering I knew what the source material was, I was actually expecting it to be way overboard, and surprisingly, it's very, very tame. I mean, considering the source material. Now you still have your like the etchy moments, and he accidentally touches her and stuff like that, or the clumsiness where they fall on top of each other. But and also the risque cosplaying outfits that she will wear. But other than that, this boy, he's of course 2D is only for me. 3D's bad. You can't trust the 3D waifu. But with her now in the mix and cosplaying as his waifu, he's now having this conflict of like, uh-oh. I need to stay faithful to my, my waifu. So it's going to be this little fun game going back and forth, I think, with that. But, yeah. Not much else to say about it except for, it's just, I guess, not. I guess you kind of want to maybe think of My Dress Up Darling, but a little more perverted, but lesser quality. Yes. Next up, let me see here. Oh, this title, Atri. This show is pretty strange as well. The starting of it was like, oh my god, this is such a visual novel. And of course the source is a visual novel, so that made sense. But I guess in this world, I believe it's probably due to the climate change. Water has risen up and has buried a bunch of things, so there's not much land anywhere. And on this small island, you have this boy who was involved in an accident and lost his leg. And now he's living alone. And I guess he does scavenging because he goes into this like little submarine that he has and goes into the waters to find relics or, things that they could sell. And he so happens to find this tube with this body in it, which so happens to be like an android or robot. I don't know how you want to explain it. But the character's name is Atri, and while finding it, it opens up, and he finds out that it's was made by his grandmother, and now he wants to sell her to get a better leg, but because the leg he has, this prosthetic leg he has, it isn't working properly. And now this girl, it's one of those shows where this little girl's probably going to warm his heart type of thing and change him from this rough, everything's bleak kind of man into maybe something better. Maybe a half decent man, I guess, right? Yeah. But it's somewhat interesting because of the world and learning what may have happened and how these things have come to be. But also, this robot girl, this android, she doesn't behave like your typical android. She behaves very much like a young little girl, to the point where she's like, I can't remember things. And they're like, how can you not remember things? You're a robot. So, they make that little joke and stuff. And she's always being a little clumsy and stuff like that. So it's really weird to figure out, like, why was she made in this particular way compared to all the others robots and stuff that are out there. It's hard to recommend unless you're really into those light novel types of anime shows. But right now I don't know. It's really hard to say because I've only seen 2 episodes. I haven't got to the 3rd episodes, but it doesn't have any of those moments like I would say in Clanad or Air, or where like it's super funny, but then you have these really heartfelt moments where you're like, oh, I'm going to cry so much. So I think that's what those visual novels tend to do, but I don't think it's gotten there yet. So I'm going to keep on watching and see what happens. Next up, this one I kind of don't want to watch because it makes me kind of sad that this is how I believe the future really is going to be, and it's somewhat this way already for some people. Is the Boku no Tsuma wo Kanojo ga nai, or my wife has no emotion? Because you've heard the stories of people marrying holograms in Japan or stuff like this. So this guy has an android that he purchased that's uh, basically all it does is make food. And after a hard day's work, he comes home, drinks, and it's there to make him food. And being the only companion that he really has with him, um, he really leans on the machine, and he makes a joke offhand that you're like my wife, or I want you to be my wife. So it kind of takes those things and searches it, and then starts playing this role of somewhat of a wife. But I've only seen one episode because I'm kind of like, I don't really know if I would have watched this. Yeah, I might try to get to the third episode later on this week to see if it does get better or how it's going to go. But right now it's very low on my list, so that's why I haven't watched a lot of it. But it does have a nice ending song if you want to try to check that one out. Next up is finally something we can talk about as a discussion. Bye Bye Earth. Wait, give me a second. I'm just now noticing that I don't think anyone can hear you. I should have done a mic test.
Oh no! I've been empty air this whole time.
Oh, there you. Now everyone. I'm so sorry. Wow.
Oh, Tank, you silenced me. What's with you? Okay, am I working now? I'm coming through?
Yes, you are definitely coming through. My bad.
Okay. All right, let's start over. So, Bye Bye Earth is based on a novel written by To Ubukata, who also wrote Marduk Scramble and was the scriptwriter for Le Chevalier d'Eon and a couple other anime. But the funny thing is that I'm not actually a fan of his work. He usually has really neat premises, but they don't always stick the landing. So why am I here? Because this seemed like an interesting premise, like his other stuff, and my hope is not yet dashed. So this is taking place in a fantasy world. It's not an isekai, it's not a reincarnation or anything. It's just a pure fantasy story. And it's populated by all of these animal people. So you've got, lizard people and cat people and cat boys and girls, and the degree to which animal features are prominent on an individual varies. Is that some almost are covered in fur head to toe, like little mice, and then others just have the ears. But the main character, Belle, is, for all intents and purposes, a human being. And all the other animals are afraid of her. They call her featureless. And it really reminded me a lot of World End, how all of the people were animals and then there was a specific class of kind of second class citizens who were the humans. It's kind of like that. And basically, she sets out on a quest to find other human beings and figure out where she comes from and her heritage and all of that. And she's, of course, fighting monsters. So it looks kind of interesting, and I hope that it sticks the landing, unlike most of his other stuff.
I'm glad you made that comparison because I was thinking that heavily as well. The world and our
Yeah.
Suka Suka
Mm-hmm.
with the all of the creatures, but it seems that in this show the creatures are more diverse.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, you have minotaurs and mermaid people, I believe, and such like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So, um, very diverse. But also they have this other thing with their weapons, which they grow from like seeds, or they haven't fully explained it, but that's another interesting aspect about how these weapons act and how people grow their weapons versus making them, with steel and such.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was pretty interesting at the beginning when I first saw the weapon. I'm like, doesn't that look like wood? It doesn't look like steel or anything like that. So after finding that out, I'm like, now it makes sense why it kind
Mm-hmm.
of looks like that. But that first episode was really wonderful with its fight scene.
Oh, it was so cool.
But it made me question a lot of other things too, because it seemed like all the aqua life was also somewhat related to plants. Because if you saw the fishes and stuff, they were also like plant fish, and even
Yeah,
the
and somehow they were going, the monster plant that she fought was going to make the drinking water unusable.
so
So there's a lot of world building left to do, I think.
yeah. But I do have to say, when I saw and heard the main guy that was like her teacher, all I could think
Mm-hmm.
of was Archer.
Oh, is it the same VA?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's so heavy. I'm like when they were about to getting ready to fight, and he started charging his weapons. I just in my head he was like, "I am the bone of my sword," and he was going off. But yeah, this is another show I kind of want to keep on following because of its close relation to the Suka Suka universe. With the people and but also to see what else this world has.
mm-hmm. And also, I'm so starved for just a pure fantasy story. That's another reason why I'm watching this, is because I'm so sick of isekai, and this is not one, but it's still got magic and stuff. So that's why I'm here.
All right. Well, if you're not into isekai and you want more, uh, oh man, that title's white with that white cloud. Let's move over here. We got this
Um,
show called Dungeon no Naka no Hito, which is
mhm.
also dungeon people, where this adventurer, her father trained her at a very young age to be powerful and strong, and by all means, she's like probably one of the strongest um, adventurers out there right now. But her father goes missing in the dungeon, and she decides to follow and search for him in the dungeon. But she's a solo player, I guess you can want to call it that. And she goes in the dungeon by herself, and upon reaching, I think it was the 8th or ninth floor, and fighting the boss, an accident happens where the boss throws the axe and it breaks through the wall, and you see a bedroom. And she's like,
What?
huh? And then the monster's like, oh no, I messed up. And she's like, what? It can talk? And there it just goes into crazy zaniest where this girl comes in, is like, oh, I'm so sorry. They have this discussion, and you find out that she's in charge of the dungeon. The monsters are employees, and she's actually recruiting that adventurer to work in the dungeon with her.
Okay, that's pretty funny. I
So
like the setup.
So the rest of the show seems to be her learning how to run the dungeon with this other girl, while also kind of trying to look for her father and find any information about her father. But she won't just flat out ask the dungeon master for it, because she believes by her father's lessons that if she gets any help, the father will make fun of her, but going, "Huh, you had to find help to find me, huh, pathetic," type of thing. So she has her own pride that's preventing her from, getting the information she wants. But now that she's working in the dungeon, it's just silly to see how this behind the woodworks of how dungeon works. Oh, the chest, you find the magical items are in it, right? And then you realize that there's these monsters going around filling those chests periodically. So it's a silly comic show, and also one of the few that's on High Dive. But yeah.
I may have to watch that one.
Next up is, now this show surprised me. I honestly didn't know what to expect from it. It's called Elfson wa Yasera Rarenai, or Plus Size Elf.
Mm-hmm.
This is 100% ecchi. To the point where you see bare breast and nakedness and all sorts of stuff. So if you're not into that, this is probably not your show. But another thing, it's also short, so it's only 11 minutes long.
Oh, is it uncensored?
Yes, it is uncensored.
Oh.
But like, that 2D 2.5, I was expecting more of what you see in this to be in that. So it came as a great shock. But it's about, I guess, other creatures coming into our world through dimensional gates. I don't know how. It doesn't really explain it, except for the elf where she walks through this one gate. And because of, she's very petite and fit when she comes through, but in order to go back, you have to go back the same way you came. And because she's been here, she fell in love with potato fries. And now she can't go back because she's gained so much weight. So she goes to this clinic that's to help her lose weight. And it's just each episode, her trying to lose weight and meeting other people who have similar weight problems and such. But like I said, they also have a lot of etchiness where they go in a sauna, so they're basically, all naked inside there.
Mm-hmm.
Or when they first meet, she's I think her bra rips or something like that, so, and it just falls off. So it does have that. So if you're not into that, this is definitely not your show. But yeah, shocked. Let's go to a better show.
Okay. What's up next?
Next up is Pseudo Harem.
Oh, so we go from the ecchi show to a harem show.
But this is actually not what you think. It's really funny. It's called Pseudo Harem, where this girl, I believe they're in high school, and she wants to join a drama club, or the theater club, whatever you want to call it, right? And she runs into this boy, and she's like, "I wish to join the theater club." And he's like, "Oh man, that's so sad, Unfortunately, it's only me, and I'm the president, but if you really want to join, come with me and we can fill you up." But there's not much to expect, so she's kind of a little sad. But you find out he was just acting, and there's the whole club members and everything, so it's a fun little fake out. But she's really, really into acting, and because of her first interaction with this boy, they kind of hit it off and always playing around. But as they're playing around, she goes into different characters, like Itsundere, or the ice, the what they call her Cool Beauty Chan, or even the little girl, where she plays as, so it's just the voice actor going all out, playing different characters under this one character. So that's why it's called Pseudo Harem, because she's like her own little harem. for this one guy. And it's always just them having fun and making jokes, but it tends to turn to a way where she's kind of hiding her embarrassment and hiding her feelings for him to do things, where she'll act like a tsundere or act as a little kid or something like that to him to try to get her feelings across, but he just kind of takes it as they're just playing around type of thing. So it's a little more different than you would think for a harem, you know, with a bunch of girls, but it's just this boy and girl.
That's actually pretty cute.
Yeah, it's
so that's why pseudo harem is that she is the harem because she's playing all these different roles.
Yeah, and even as a joke, at some points they'll be like going out shopping. He's like, "Oh, let me get you some candy." He's like, "Oh, I bet Cool-chan would like this, but oh, little girl would probably want this one more. I think Surende loves this flavor more." You know, they're always playing around with this idea that there's multiple people for her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice little rom-com, I would say, but without the who's he going to get with.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun. At least give the first episode a watch. I don't know if you need to watch more than that to get how far the story's going to go, because it doesn't seem to be changing too much with the second episode. But we'll see.
Okay.
But I hope to keep on watching and see how far it goes.
All right, keep us posted on that one.
Next up is... how do you say this? Gimai?
Gimai.
Oh, Gimai Seikatsu?
Mm-hmm.
And this one actually surprised me because when I first was watching it, I saw a name appear called Hiten. And Hiten K is a doujin artist I collect books for. He does really wonderful illustrations. It's not one of those 18 plus doujin artists. He's does these really beautiful artwork with beautiful background sceneries, and also with it's really hard to explain. You should try to check out some of his art. I'll maybe share some with you later on because I have some books I can share with you. But
yeah.
So it kind of got me interested in this, but it's such a hard show for me to watch right now because it seems so much like a soap opera or soap drama. Sorry.
Oh, so it's melodramatic?
Yes, we're to the point where the boy, he's always working. He's trying to live his life. His father decides to get remarried, and the person he's marrying has a daughter herself, which is in the same class, or I think same year, I can't remember. So they're going to the same school, but they're very standoffish. They're not trying to get into each other's way, trying not to interact too much with each other, you know. They're there because they want their parents to be happy, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows what's going to go on. It's I've only seen the first 2 episodes, and the second episode I wasn't really paying attention 100%, so I can't say too much on it. But if you like soap dramas, I think this might be one of those. I think this is how do you classify it? What is that called? Josei type of show?
Oh, well, typically those have older characters in their 20s or characters not in high school, but it's possible.
Yeah. Well, it gave me those high Joseph theme, or
it's got Josei vibes.
Maybe, but it's hard to explain. But it's yeah. But I don't think it's my cup of tea. But I may watch it a little more with a group of people because I think it'll be a little more easy for me to watch with people than me sitting there trying to watch it myself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. After that, we got this title, which is super long. Okay, a second, let me see if I can say this. Hazure waku no joutai ijo skill de saikyo ni た俺がすべてを蹂躙す There's more to it, but I can't read it. Oh, するまで. Sorry, there it goes.
Okay.
Also known as failure frame. Now,
Failure frame?
yes, now this is your isekai.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this, the 3D in this is terrible.
Oh no.
It's funny because he gets transported to a dungeon and is attacked by monsters, and you could tell the whole running animation of him in the dungeon is all CG, and it's so bad. And even outside of the dungeon, this guy casts a fireball and hits a wall, and you could tell the fires doesn't look anything like anything else in the animation.
Oh, I hate it.
So it doesn't look that great. I have read the manga of it, and it is based off of a light novel where he gets transported with a class, but because his skill is deemed worthless, he is outcasted and thrown into a dungeon to basically die.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the past, I guess, with the weak members, it brought everyone else down, all the other heroes down. And so rather nip the problem in the bud right now, right? So that's basically this show in a nutshell. Not much else to say except for it doesn't look good.
I think I'll safely pass that one then.
Yes. Now for an isekai that is worth it, we got Isekai Shikaku, which translates into no longer allowed in another world on Crunchyroll.
Mm-hmm.
And this is...
Oh, this is the one with Osamu Dazai, right?
Yes. I didn't know that was his name, I guess. It's funny because...
I just know him as an author. I've read his books, but I haven't seen this show.
Because in the show, he's always told everyone that his name is Sensei. And everyone calls him Sensei. So I never knew his real name.
Well, whoops, spoilers, I guess.
Well, he always tells everyone he's a writer, so I don't think that's too much of a spoiler, maybe. But he's about to commit a double suicide with a girl.
Yeah, that'd be him.
And he gets hit by a truck. The isekai truck. And it's kind of funny because... It's kind of funny because when he wakes up, he's in his church, and the I guess the guide, as she's called, tells him that those who are unfortunate and are in misery will be visited by this special truck that makes you the chosen person to come to this world to change your life. And it's funny because he gets all in her face, and she's like, "I was about to be the happiest I've ever felt in the world, and you ruined it." Because, he was about to commit his double suicide. So, it's funny because everyone in this world, from the other world, gets granted powers and such, but he has no skills, nothing. His HP is just 1, his MP is 0, and he's like perpetually poisoned because he's always eating poison tablets to kill himself. But it's funny because he can't die in a sense. But
so the humor is pretty dark in this then.
Yes, because he's always wanting to die, and he's always doing weird things that just don't make sense, and he's very like the opposite of what you would think of your typical hero, right? And it's kind of funny because Annette kind of falls in love with this, because instead of being the typical otherworlder, which is arrogant and always like, I'm so much better, I'm the chosen one and everything, he's totally the opposite of that, right? Because he just wants to die. But he realizes that if he's here, that means Sachan must be here. So now he's on a journey to find Sachan to commit his double suicide again.
Oh my gosh.
But what makes it so much funnier for me is that the voice actor is the same voice actor for Zetsubo Sensei.
Okay, that's pretty perfect then.
So it's what's his name? Araragi's voice too, right? So we got him playing this character, and you know how his voice is and how dark he can be.
Mm-hmm.
So it adds to the
Good
humor.
casting then.
So it's him going through this world, but it seems that maybe I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil it. But it's such a comedy, and it's just so silly and ridiculous. The aspects of everything that's happening. But yeah, but it's another Truck Coon comes here to give us a new story.
All right.
The next title is based off of a light novel, which I've read. Actually, I don't know if I've read the light novel or web novel, but I've also read some of the manga, and it's one of those titles that I watch, but I kind of hate the main guy because he's too nice. I don't know how to explain it. Like, he'll make something and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so wonderful. Please make me some." And he's like, "Oh, okay." You know, I like it when they're more like, "Oh, pay me some money," or they're more, I guess, human compared to him. But he ends up finding being reincarnated, and he finds some twins in this forest, and he decides to adopt them because they were left there to die. And he finds that the god that sent him there, because he was accidentally killed, kind of put him in that place to find those kids because they're somewhat important. We don't know why yet, but so he decides to go ahead and raise them as his own little siblings. And now they're going out in adventures, and these kids are like what 6, 7 years old, but they're OP at everything they're doing and fighting. So it's OP characters in an isekai world. Not much else to say.
All right.
Next up is a show that is beautiful. It's another short. I'm actually surprised with how many shorts there are.
Haven't heard of this. Oh wait, have I heard of this one?
In Crunchyroll, it's called The Magical Girl and the Evil Lieutenant Used to Be Arch Enemies.
Okay, is it good?
It's
Ho hum.
it's bittersweet, I guess. That's how you can explain it. It's just a girl that's like a magical girl, and she's out there to protect the world, and she confronts the Archduke or whatever you want to call him. I can't remember what he was, but he kind of falls in love with her at first sight. And now whenever they meet, he's like always giving her cake, giving her candies and such. And it's just pure silliness because, he's this hardcore follower of the evil organization. And he's like, I need to do everything I need to do. I've done all these evil deeds. I've done all this stuff to rise the ranks. I need to get my head in the game. And then a commercial comes on about food that woman would love. And he's like, picks up the phone, calls it. Yes, I'd like to order one. And then the next thing you know, he's with that girl giving her food. But the magical girl is also like hard on time. She's working at a convenience store. She doesn't eat much because she's constantly busy because her family, or herself, I should say, is in debt to Yakuza, of all things. So it's this weird dynamic between the two. But the sceneries that they show and how they interact with each other is just really sweet. It's a nice little, I guess, eye candy show for you that's pure.
I may have to add this one to my list then.
But it is a short, so it is a really fast watch. And I've only seen, I think, 2 episodes, so we'll see how that goes.
All right.
After that, we'll skip that one because I don't really care about that one too. which is like the twins. This next title here, is called Kono Sekai wa Fukanzen Suguru, which
I have
is
not heard of this one.
sorry, quality assurance in another world. It seems like it's going to be this isekai type of show, which it kind of is, where this guy's overwatching a town, and the girl walks up to him. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, don't worry about me. Don't just ignore me." And he's kind of like seems to be preparing a bunch of things, and then all of a sudden the village is attacked, and he's trying to fight this. I guess they call it a dragon, but it looks like a big lizard. And as he's fighting this monster, or preparing to fight this monster, one of the village girls gets close to him and starts kind of conversing with him and having fun. But then during the attack, he's fighting this monster all by himself, and he's trying to protect the villagers, but the villagers decide to go out and help him. And they actually end up defeating the monster, and the village is saved. Yay! But then all of a sudden, everything just bursts into flames and everyone dies.
Oh.
And he
Oh dear.
starts crying. He's like, I guess this is just what's meant to happen. This is all part of the game. And you find out he's in a virtual reality game.
Huh.
And he's a debugger. He plays games to look for bugs.
Oh.
So all those girls and everything he was talking to, the people were NPCs. But the story is a lot of people were put into this game to debug it or find bugs, I guess you should say. But then they found out they couldn't log out. So because of this, I guess in this world, a lot of these debuggers have now decided to just forego the debugging and just have fun in this world, using their, I guess, debug tablet to, access admin privileges to do outrageous things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's taken his job serious, and he's still going through and trying to find all these bugs and just reporting them. So it seems that the conflict is going to be that these people who want to stay here and have fun are now going to try to stop him, because he's trying to do his job and complete it, because they hope that maybe there's two groups, I guess you could say. The ones who want to have fun, and there's a group that people that want to beat the game. Hopefully they would release them. So they're trying to prevent all these things. But it's kind of interesting because you realize that this guy won't use any of his admin privileges, I guess you might want to call it. And it's
So he's hurting himself.
yeah, but it's interesting because you find out why in the third episode, and it's kind of freaky. But
So is this quality assurance in another world?
yes.
Okay. That is a different take on a well-worn premise, and I respect that.
But here's the kick: that one girl that was always with him that ends up dying, she comes back, and he's like, "This is a bug. She shouldn't be back."
Oh no!
But she wants to be like him. They call him, like, I can't remember what they call him. They call him like these special names, like the Secret Organization of the Keen is what they're kind of referred to. I can't remember the exact name, but she wants to be like him. So now she's following him and trying to learn the steps of debugging. But it's kind of funny because she doesn't understand what he's doing. Because like he'll run into a wall and just start running against the wall, and she's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm trying to find spots in the wall where you might be able to walk through," And she's like, "What?" She doesn't understand it, but since he's trying to find weaknesses or problems with the settings to find any bugs, it's just pure silliness. All the little things that he does, and she finds weird, but then she ends up trying to do it as well. But yeah, it's a, what do you call it? The VR isekai, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel very nostalgic for Dot Hack and those trapped in the game can't log out stories. So I know it's a little hypocritical to say that, oh, I don't like isekai, but I'm okay with those, because it's essentially the same thing. But I do like the different take on this premise that you were describing.
To me, the game world makes more sense to them having status screens and other stuff, while in the isekai where they have the same thing, you're like, wait, why would they have something like that? Somewhat.
Yeah. I think that could be why that thematically the game makes more sense for the stats and everything.
But next up we got this show. Mado. This one is pretty interesting. It's called Dahlia in Bloom on Crunchyroll.
Mm-hmm.
Mado gushi daila wa utsumu kyou kara ju na shokuin life. But the thing that makes it weird is that it has that it's an isekai where the girl, comes from another world, or has memories, I should say, from another world. In our modern world, I guess you could kind of say. But she acts like they're distant memories, like a dream, as such, rather than having full control. Like, oh, I know I'm from another world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But as a little girl, her father makes like these magical tools, and being amazed by seeing one of these magic tools, she decides that she wants to go into it like her father. And while playing with the girl shows her interest in becoming a hairdresser, and that one of her issues was with wet hair. So she decides she wants to make an air blower, kind of like what she remembers in her like dreams or memories, however you want to say it. So she goes to her father about making it, and it's about her and her father learning, or her father teaching her how to make these tools and the dangers and everything about it at the first episode. And they end up succeeding, and now she's grown up, and she's becoming this magical tool maker, and she's making all these things that you kind of would relate to our modern world in this new world with the tools available to her. So
Okay.
it's somewhat interesting because but also at the same time it has this feeling like it's been done quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to explain it, but I th- it may be just a show I'm going to watch on my own, but I don't know if I could really recommend it to anyone, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I have to say about that. Now let's go to another show you can talk about.
All right.
Oops, wrong one. How do you say this?
Makene. Too many losing heroines.
Make heroin ga osugiru?
Yeah. So this one, it's a comedy, and the main character is a young man in high school who's basically bumping into all of these girls who have a crush who is not interested in them at all. So think terminally childhood friends zone girls, kind of. And I've seen 3 episodes, so I'm not really sure about the direction of the show, but it's just this sort of delightful screwball comedy where the interactions with the girls are hilarious. It's really well animated, even though it's not what I would consider a high action type of show that typically has the flashy animation. And the character expressions are hilarious. I cannot stop laughing watching this. So, definitely recommend thus far.
Yeah, this show is just it's definitely going to be one of those, I think, harem tropes shows. But
Yeah.
just the interactions with the different personalities of all these girls has just been pretty funny. But you mentioned that it had a lot of sakuga earlier to me offline.
Hmm.
Like
Yes.
I haven't seen anything really talk about it. Like, have you, or like what's been going on with it?
Well, I don't know necessarily about the community chatter, but just watching the way the girls are animated, it's really super fluid in some ways. They're using a lot of animation tricks that if you love animation, you will know are really hard to pull off. And they're kind of just really gunning it with this one. I wish I could bring up a specific example to show you on stream. But yeah, if you like animation, watch this because you'll definitely be delighted. There are a couple of shots where I think they might have been done on ones. Not 100% sure because they're just so brief. Um, like a lot of the ones in the first episode where they're showing a close up of, is it Yanami? Yanami, the blue haired girl. And her face will contort in these really just extreme ways that are hilarious to look at. And they're really well animated.
Yes.
I'm not doing a good job of selling it, but just take my word for it.
I'll admit the humor in this show is top notch. I found myself busting out laughing quite often at some of the scenes.
Same.
You know that, and I'll admit her faces were priceless at some points. Like when she notices him watching her
Mm.
with the drink. Oh, it was great. But
Oh, I laughed so hard.
but I have to admit I do have one problem with the show, and that's their ribbon choice.
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. The ribbons, the 4 bow ties is really dumb.
They're trying to be so unique, it comes off so bad. I think.
It does. And the sad thing is that I really like the colors that they've chosen for each heroine because they match. And because a lot of time in anime when you have really bright colors and stuff and they're all in a high school with a uniform, the uniforms sometimes run the risk of clashing with the hair colors and the eye colors of the different characters. But in here, I don't think the colors of the bows are necessarily indicative of the year that the girls are in, unless I completely missed that. But they match the girls and act as accents or accessories. The problem is there are 4 bow ties. It is just silly.
Yeah, and they go down like halfway through down their torso.
Yeah, and they're alternating colors, right? It's like there are 2 colors. So each bow tie is a different color. I don't know what they were thinking, but it ain't great.
I'm glad someone else agrees with me. I thought they were so dumb.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up, but I completely forgot, so I'm glad that you mentioned it.
Um, yeah. I will say though, with the introduction of this one teacher, I think things are going to be kind of weird. Cause I don't know what she's thinking about, and
Oh, the nurse?
yeah,
Yeah.
and she,
Yeah, I don't know.
to me, it almost seems like she wants to do something, but I'm kind of afraid of what she wants to do.
Yeah. No, I'm not getting good feelings from her at all. She's trouble.
But all the other characters have been very fun and very interesting. Um, the revelation of becoming the, I guess, Maken girl has been pretty funny for the ones we have seen.
Hmm.
So I can't wait to see with the next one, which I think is probably going to be in episode 4. But other than that, I just want to say, hey, Sean, he's watching,
Oh, hi, Sean.
and also Dragon. Dragon's been watching.
Yeah.
Sorry I didn't notice you guys. I had the chat closed. I opened it up and I saw it. I was like, but yeah, check this show out. It has the stupidest ribbon design for a sailor uniform ever.
Yeah. Really bad uniform.
Next up, oh, I scrolled down too far. This is another fantasy. I don't know. I can't remember too much about this. I can't remember if it's a how do you say it? Isekai, which I think it is because he mentioned some guns.
Well, Live Chart has it tagged as both an isekai and a reincarnation.
Yeah,
So that's a double nope for me.
yeah, so he's raised by like the general of the demon lord, and he's raised as a demon, and he has to keep his identity as a human secret from everyone. And like only one other person knows his true identity, and that's his commander. And but he's seen as one of the brightest strategists and fighters of the demon lord. And of course, because he's human, he tends to have a lot of pushback against, just onslaught, murdering everyone, to the point where he orders his men to, kill the enemy, but everyone else leave alone. Don't do unnecessary killing. And when they question, like, why, and he's like, he makes at least excuses that make sense, such as, if we kill them all, we won't have anyone to build the city back up or collect taxes from, So he's able to convince people or his minions to do what he needs to be done to keep everyone safe. But at the same time, he's has to have that ruthlessness to kill his enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll admit, as a manga, I really like this, and it was really fun. Right now, as an anime, it's playing out pretty much the same, but because of how it starts, I think it has a slow start. So you may not buy into it right away as you're watching the first 3 episodes, because I don't think it really picks up until, I would say, into the midway into the season, where you might get hooked. But because of that, it's just your typical isekai with magic and such. But at least it's not like, status windows and all this other stuff. It's, they use typical magic. They have to chant. They use magic circles. They fight sword to sword, and such. So, yeah, that's that show.
Okay.
Next up is another silly show, which is hard to explain. Mayo Naka Punch.
At least it's easy to say.
Yes. It's about this girl who was a YouTuber, and she had a channel with 3 girls, and they were called like the something, I can't remember the name of them, some weird sisters, but they were high schoolers that all became friends and started streaming them doing silly things in their daily life, right? But then one day, the main girl, Masaki, punches one of the other girls on stream.
Oh shit.
Due to a conflict. So she gets kicked out of the group and everyone's flaming her. And she tries to start her own channel. But, she's got those haters like, how could you do this and all that such. So she gets drunk, and while being drunk, she goes out to this abandoned building where she went with her friends when they were first starting their channel, and she decides that she's going to record here to make her new channel. But at the same time, there's this mansion where this girl wakes up from a dream, and she has a dream of this girl that looks just like Misaki, and you also find out that she's a vampire.
Wait, whoa, we just took a hard turn into Crazy Town.
Yes, and her minion's been keeping the building up, and she's been asleep for hundreds of years, I guess. And so she decides that she wants to go drink blood, but I guess because of the rules, she has to go get blood from other sources. You know, she can't just attack people. So she goes to the abandoned hospital, which is where Misaki happens to be, to look for blood. And when she meets her, she's like, "Oh, it's the girl of my dreams," and she wants to suck her blood so badly. But Misaki sees her using her vampiric abilities, and has this bright idea in her drunken state that join me, let's make a YouTube channel to get 100 or a million followers. If you do this, 20 years, Dragon. I don't remember. I just threw out a random number. Sorry, but she was asleep for 20 years, I guess. But she makes a deal that if she can make a million followers on her channel, that she'll let her drink her blood.
Huh.
So it seems that it's just going to be a crazy show with them trying to get a million followers, but they also have to respect the rules of the vampire world where they can't use their special abilities out there. But that's also kind of how they made the name, which is Mayonaka, which means late at night, I guess. And
Oh.
punch, because that girl punched the other girl.
So she's on brand at least.
Yeah.
Huh, that's a really kind of screwball premise. I find it interesting that anime is now delving into modern influencer and social media type culture. I mean, I know that that's inevitable, but I can't say there are many anime out there that deal with being a YouTuber, really. Or anything like that. That's interesting. Well, let us know how it goes, Tank.
Definitely. It seems it's very comedic, so it's going to be pretty fun. Next up, this title.
Oh no, that's not good.
It's not bad. It's just so strange because I decided I wanted to read the manga this was based off of, and they're two completely different stories.
And which one are we talking about? Mob Kara Hajimaru Tansaku Eiyutan?
Yes, a nobody's way up to an exploration hero. So I guess there's this dungeon in this world, and I can't remember how they explained where these came from, but they just kind of appeared, if my memory serves me right. And now you have explorers that are going into the dungeon, and the main explorer is a solo adventurer. He used to have two other friends that went with him, but they got beaten up, and they decided that they weren't going to explore anymore, so he's been going by himself. But due to some luck, he found out that the slimes on the very first level can die to bug spray. So,
Okay.
so he's been defeating all these slimes using bug spray, and one day he happens to get a rare drop, which is like a summon card, and he uses the card, which summons like I guess like this beautiful, powerful lady, like a goddess, and then
Support.
and it appears before him, and then it disappears. He's like, "What?" And then all of a sudden, next to him is this little lolly girl, and but she's super powerful. And so I don't know if you like those lolly characters, this is gonna have it, and it's dungeon exploration where he's super weak, but she's super powerful, but he wants to become stronger himself. So it's kind of this exploration where he's playing around, like trying to figure out her limits and trying to get himself stronger at the same time. It's a strange little show.
Hmm.
But the manga was way different and way darker, I would say. So,
So you don't really recommend this one then?
not unless you're into the lolly character. Because if you like lolly girls, then this might be a show you might enjoy. I'm going to skip the next title and just go to the good one, which is Sean. You might want to check this show out because this show's
Yeah.
really amazing. It's called how do you say this? Nige Jozu no Wakagami.
Wakagimi.
Oh, Wakagimi. Sorry.
Yeah, it's The Elusive Samurai in English. And it is about a period of Japanese history that I hardly know a thing about, the Kamakura period. And it follows the young scion of the Hojo clan. And I find it difficult to talk about historical stuff because I am going to have to spoil the premise of the show of the first season. But basically, there's kind of a coup, and everybody in his family gets murdered. And that's episode 1. But since it is a historical event that actually did happen, I don't know that that's really spoilery. Anyhow, they do a really good job with visual imagery. There's a scene that sticks out in my mind several weeks after having watched it of, oh my gosh, Tokiyuki and his brother playing with a ball. And as the ball falls through the air, it turns into a severed head to kind of foreshadow, not very subtly, everything that's going to happen. And there's a lot of imagery like that in this show, but one of my criticisms is a little bit about the tone. It can be kind of jarring because there is a lot of violence and a lot of horrible things. Tokiyuki basically had to run with nothing but the clothes on his back to escape the conflagration and genocide of his entire clan, and then is rescued by a Shinto priest / god who's your comic relief character. And I don't know, it doesn't always work. There are some moments that are laugh out loud funny, like when he pulls on his little head string to turn off his divine light. That really got me laughing. But then the ending song has this really cute, vibrant, modern, everybody's in modern clothes, dancing and DJing and singing along. And I'm thinking, Tokiyuki is shoulder to shoulder with the man that betrayed his clan and murdered all of his relatives. And it just doesn't really click for me in that case. But I really do like it, and I recommend it highly just because it's gorgeous to look at. Lots of really beautiful, flashy animation, creative use of camera angles and static imagery too. It's really good. Just know going into it that there's tonal disconnect. Tank, what did you think about that? Did that bother you too?
No, not really so much. I will admit that one part that I did really enjoy was that they try to cover like the brutality of everyone by masking it over as demons.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like in these newer episodes, it's kind of getting on borderline creepy again, with some of these shooting or the animation, how they want to portray these characters. Like, I don't know if you've seen the 4th episode, have you?
You know what? I don't think I have. Let me double check.
Because it gets really creepy in some of these scenes that you're seeing now. And but the show has such wonderful animation in it. I mean, it was just so crazy. And what got me into it was honestly Twitter, or whatever you call it, X, right?
It's still Twitter. I don't care what Elon says.
But there were so many videos of just the animation cells of these scenes that I just keep on finding on my feed that everyone's posting on how they animated this. And it's just so beautiful, the fluid movement and such as in that first episode. And even I think the second episode had a really, really great scene as he was with his uncle. That's the best way I could say it.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was pretty messed up.
But the thing I, the only thing I thought was really weird was the kid's facial expression during these hardcore moments. But other than that, I really also enjoyed the comedy, especially with the Shinto priest when he was, because he'll make a lot of comments that are modern day, which he
Yeah.
excuses by saying, "Oh, this is something I saw in the future."
Yeah, no, and that is really funny. I do like that. It's just that sometimes it goes from a 9-year-old boy being executed to ha 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 funny gags. And I don't know. That's just my personal opinion though. Humor is really subjective.
but
Because this show does not shy away from the violence and the brutality.
but I think that might also be done on purpose, because I think at this point, especially at the beginning when he's a lot of this is happening, is we don't know if we can trust him, and it kind of gives us that uneasy feeling that is he really someone we should trust when he's this
Oh,
lighthearted during these type of moments? You know what I mean?
I can see that. I can see that.
Because like I'll admit that some of these moments he was like super smiley or very suggestive, like oh we should do this, and but it always seemed like it's kind of something in the back that doesn't seem right because of that. And I kind of see that as the boy looking at him that way, kind of like, can we really trust this guy? Because remember, he doesn't really trust him at the start, right?
Hmm.
So,
No, that's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
but I will admit that with the introduction of all these new characters, it's been a little more fun to see how they're going to grow.
Hmm.
But
Well, Tokiyuki's superpower is basically running away. That's what he does.
this is from Studio Clover, which has done a lot of wonderful animation for some other shows. So, or sorry, Cloverworks, right?
Yes.
So they did, what was it? Dress Up Darling, right?
Uh-huh.
And they also did uh,
The Bunny Girl Senpai.
yeah, Bochi the Rock,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Akebi, Sailor Fuku, which had some wonderful animation in that too.
They also did Wonder Egg Priority, but we don't talk about Wonder Egg Priority.
So they got a really good studio to show this, but I will admit the fourth episode kind of bothered me because to me it seemed like some of the things were done with CG,
Mm.
and they mask it pretty well, but you could tell with how the movement of the body is. But when you see it, let me know what you think of it.
Okay.
Next up, we'll skip Spice and Wolf because that's from last season.
Yeah.
And we'll go into I Parry Everything. And this almost seems like it was an isekai, but it isn't. It's just a normal show with this old guy that is able to parry everything, just like the name. So, as a young boy, I believe he was probably, they seems to be around, I would say 10 years old, maybe a little older. But his family, or his mother, passes away as a child due to a sickness. And we don't know about the father. The father's been gone. I don't know if he's been dead, but he's left alone. But because of the stories he was told as a child, he wants to become an adventurer. But to become an adventurer, you have to have a certain set of skill, at least an offensive skill. And it just so happens that they have schools for the 6 different classes that he can go to get stronger, and or to at least unlock skills. So he decides to join them, but he ends up joining every single one for like 6 months or so, but he's unable to get any offensive skills. So because of that, they won't register him as an adventurer. So his dreams are dashed, but he remembers being told as a kid that if he practices strong enough or long enough that he can unlock new skills. So he spends he spends years and years and years just basically using his skills over and over again. And one of them was the parry skill, and he's been practicing that so much that he's able to parry. Like I guess he kind of calls it 1,000 swords at once, because he hangs like 1,000 swords around him as he's practicing, and he's able to parry them all somehow with the skill. Okay, see you later, Sean.
Bye bye.
So, he ends up going to the Adventures Guild one last time, and because he's now older, I don't know how old he is. He probably is in his 20s. He still wants to be an adventurer, but he still hasn't gotten any new skills. But the Adventure Guild decides to let him in under the secret ranking that allows him to do ins and odd jobs inside town. He can't do anything outside of it. You know, from like cleaning the gutters to construction work and stuff like that. And he does that faithfully, and he does it willingly and happily because he's just wants to be an adventurer and help people. And one day, he hears a roar, which is like this monster minotaur attacking, and he happens to save the girl there while all the soldiers were defeated by parrying the monster's sword over and over again, to the point where he accidentally parries it and it slips out of the monster's hand and cuts its head off. And because of his, I guess, upbringing, I would say, because he's a child with no family, that he has very low intelligence and very low common sense. He thought that was just a normal monster, and he realizes to himself, like, being an adventurer must be hard if they have to fight beasts like that all the time. But according to everyone else, that was like the strongest beast you could ever see at that time, and he was able to defeat it by just parrying. So it's a funny game where people think he's strong, people think he's powerful, but at the same time he thinks he's nothing, because he thinks everything is just everything that they're all thinking is hard, he thinks it's supposed to be for the common person. So it's a really weird dynamic. But at first I was kind of weirded out by how stupid he is. But then I kind of remembered that he was a child and he was all by himself. So he probably didn't grow up to learn things the normal way everyone else did.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm honestly enjoying it. Oh, next one up is another good show. A season 2 that we've all been looking for, right?
Hell yeah.
Oh, I don't have a calling card for it. Okay. But it's Oshinoko.
Yeah.
Season 2. I'm surprised they didn't call it Season 1 Second Core after a year break.
I hate it when they do that. Drives me bonkers. But actually, I wonder if it is, because I believe High Dive has it listed as episodes 13, 14, 15, etc.
Yeah, High Dive does have it listed that way, but if you look at its tabs, it does have it on a separate season.
Oh, all right.
But
well, this time, let's see, Aqua. So far, it's more about Aqua and him trying to perform in one of those 2.5D or 3.5D plays. Which, are those a thing? Because they look really awesome. I would love to go see something like that.
It makes me honestly think of like these plays that have a larger stage that they're able to kind of move about within the audience. Kind of like maybe I don't know if this is a good comparison, but kind of like if you think of like the Lion King, where they have people dancing out in the aisles and stuff and things like that. But I think these are more towards a special stage that allows the seats to move around in the stage to fully utilize everything. And the only thing I can come close to that I think I've seen similar was I saw Les Miserables, but instead of the seats rotating, the stage rotated, and they would set things in the background, and it would rotate to the foreground. God. It was just so really weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also kind of curious if this is real.
Yeah, because there are these enormous screens or monitors. I'm not sure if they're projections or not. That show close-ups of the actors, and then the actors are doing everything live action too, and they're in all full costume and whatnot. It looks really awesome, but it's more about the ins and outs of doing that and the different road bumps that are occurring because of the original creator not liking the script. And it's solid, it's good, it looks gorgeous, really well animated. It's easy to say that if you liked the first season of Oshi no Ko, you won't be disappointed here. It's just more of that. I'm having a great time with it, and it's just so hard to wait a week between episodes.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like Oshinoko is always following Aqua. I'm kind of sad that Ruby doesn't get as much time, and especially with this new arc. But we now have Arima or Kana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Into the mix, and also we're kind of learning a lot about theater versus idols or movies, which has been pretty fun because like I've been in theater a lot, and but I was always the stagehand, right? I build the stages, did stage rotations, lights, sound. But hearing more of the background stuff about how the scripts are made and how things are told in a different way because of the limited time and also the limited resources you have, it's been pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can't wait to see what the second half is going to be about, because I think maybe the first half is going to be all about this play, but I wonder what's coming up next.
I don't know, but it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
You have anything else to add?
Nope.
All right. Oh, another one for you.
Okay, senpai wa otoko no ko. And I think this is translated as my senpai is an otoko no ko on Crunchyroll.
Let me see here.
And I apologize in advance for the pronoun usage, but it's not clear what the main character's preferred pronouns are. So I'm just going by the seat of my pants here. I believe the subtitles use him, he, him. But Japanese can be a little bit slippery with pronouns, so it's really difficult to tell. Anyway, let's see. This is about a main character who is born a boy, but has always liked girly things and has kind of been pressured by his mother to not indulge in girly things. And he's in high school and is changing into a girl's uniform and going to school dressed as a girl with a wig, long hair, skirt, all of that stuff. But when the teacher says, oh, I need a boy to do this, that, and the other, he will stand up and do the thing. So that's what I mean by the pronouns being a little bit unclear, because he definitely wants to dress as a woman. And there's a younger Kohai that has a huge crush on him, but she was under the impression that he was a she. However, upon finding out the truth, she still is kind of crushing on him. And then his best friend, male best friend, might have a little bit of a crush on him as well. So it's kind of like a love triangle, but not really. I really like this. I like the gentle examination of the main character's gender and how he's trying to navigate the world as best he could to live in the way that he wants to live. And I just hope it doesn't get super sad later on. I don't know. Some of these stories, I feel like they're gearing us up to cry. But I do recommend this for fans of shoujo. This definitely feels like a shoujo vibe kind of a thing. And I think it's based on a manga, which I have not read.
So, I have a question about the show,
Shoot.
and it's two questions actually. I think first one is: have you ever heard of Wandering Sun? And is
Yes,
it kind of like that?
I have always wanted to read Wandering Sun, but I have not, nor have I been able to watch it.
Okay, then that kind of answers my second one because I was wondering if it was similar to that.
Yeah, can't say. But I will say that it treats the subject matter very respectfully. It doesn't make fun of Makoto, I think is the main character's name, for choosing this or wanting to dress differently at all. It gives a very sympathetic look to his plight.
Now, not to take away from the seriousness of the show, but honestly, when I first heard of Otokonoko, the first time I've ever heard of that term was on Overlord. Because,
Oh, really?
yes, because remember those little elf, the girl
You're
dresses like a boy and the boy dresses like a girl? He even mentions that her creator said it was like Otonoko or Otokonoko.
Oh, I didn't make that connection.
So
Okay.
it's funny because that was when I first heard of that term, and I was like, huh, I wonder what this is going to be about because of that. But
Mm-hmm.
this seems to be more serious than I thought it would be. But
I believe so. And the characters do spend quite a bit of time in chibi form, which I'm not a huge fan of. So there is some lighthearted stuff to this. But it never makes fun of Makoto at all. If anybody's getting made fun of, it's the little Kohai who's low key obsessed with him.
all right. So would you recommend people to watch it, or do you think it's only for targeted for certain people?
I would say check it out because it's not really objectifying anybody, so I don't think it's targeted at a certain subset of people who like certain things necessarily. It's just a story about a person who has a very specific struggle that they're going through, and it's looking at that with grace. And yeah, I've seen 3 episodes so far. I would say at this point I'd recommend it. I'll let you know when I finish it.
Okay, I might have to watch it now with Dragon, see what it is.
Okay.
The next show we're going to skip because everyone knows about Shikanoko Noko Noko Kosh Tantan. So I think we can skip that. Honestly, it wasn't my cup of tea. So I think we could just go ahead and go past that.
Okay.
Next up is this show, which is another really dumb show. But the only reason I want to bring it up is because of the opening song. The opening song is so silly. It's like an old man singing at karaoke. I kind of compared it to DragonWarrior because DragonWarrior would sometimes sing with us. And I'm like, Dragon, this is you singing. Yeah. But it's about this old man. I think he's like 32 years old. He wanted to be an adventurer, but due to circumstances, he became a guild receptionist for 30 or until his age of 30. And then at the age of 30, he left and decided to train to be an adventurer. And now after 2 years, he's going to the guild again to become registered and see if he can rank up. And you find out that he was trained by like the strongest S-class team ever, but he himself doesn't really know how strong he really is. So he thinks he's weak, but he's overpowered to everyone else. But it's just stupid humor, but it's at least not an isekai. But it is pretty fantasy world with the guild and magic and fighting the monsters that attack the town. But just watch that opening. It's hilarious to me.
Okay. I do like stupid humor. That's certainly up my alley.
The next show is called Show something. Show Shumin? Is that how you say it?
Shoshinin?
How to Become Ordinary. Now, this show is really hard to recommend to people, and it seems to be this boy that he seems really bright, and he's able to deduce a lot of things that are happening and solve the root of a few problems that are happening around him. But he's also trying to act as if he's a normal person. So I wonder like what his circumstances are. Like, does he not have feelings? Was he arrogant beforehand? Because they kind of make comments like, you're not how you used to be. But he's trying to act as a normal person. That's why it's kind of named How to Become Ordinary. But he also has this other girl that he's with that I guess is kind of along the same lines, but she tends to be super shy. But all these, it seems to be like a problem happens, and they're there to solve it a little bit. Like the first episode was this girl's purse went missing, so they wanted help to find it, and he's able to find it. The next one is they're given chocolate milk at the friend's house, and then the sister's like, how did he make the chocolate milk? There was no dishes done, everything's dry, so how did he heat the milk and stuff without dirtying all these dishes? So they're kind of trying to deduce how he did this trick. So it's really weird how it's been going with this. But the closest thing I can kind of compare it to as vibes is this other show called Sakura da Reset. And I don't know if many other people who have ever seen that one either. So
I've heard it, but I haven't seen it.
It has very much the same vibes as I was watching that. So this one's a hard recommendation to anyone. But
is this a short?
No, it's a full episode.
Oh, interesting.
Next up is Suicide Squad, which I honestly thought you would watch.
To watch it. I absolutely do want to watch it. I am a fan of Suicide Squad, but I don't have HBO. So I'm waiting for enough of it to come out so I can do a free trial because I'm a cheapskate and then binge it.
All right.
That's my plan.
Well, I've seen 3 to 4 episodes, and I'll tell you, I was not impressed.
So it's not worth shelling out $18 or whatever for HBO?
To me, no.
Oh.
There's a lot more better shows right now. Like, I just don't know how to explain it. It's the premise is really weird. They used, I guess, some girls' abilities to open a dimensional portal, and they decide to send these prisoners right into the portal to investigate it to not harm any of their soldiers, right? But because of that, problems arise, and now they have to send a next group, which is our Suicide Squad group, right? Which is the
Okay.
Harley Quinn, Deadshot, that shark guy, Maui, I think it was. So you have all of them going with a few other people, and it's not as good as you would think or hope, I would say. Sadness. That's all I could say.
That is a sad thing.
Let's just go to the next title, which has been the favorite of mine this whole season. I guess I should have remembered the name if I was my favorite. I just call it Alia because that's the girl's name, but it's called Tokidoki Bosoto Russian Go de Deru or Dereru Tonari no Alia-san. Or Alia sometimes hides her feeling in Russian. It's a rom-com. I'm a sucker for it. Alia is this Russian girl in the school, and her seat partner happens to be this very apathetic boy. You know, sleep late, has his head down in class, very sleepy. And when they interact, it's always this fun little interaction with them where they're coming kind of butting heads with each other. But under her breath in Russian, she'll make these comments like, "Oh, you're so cute," and he's like, "What did you say?" And she's like, "I can't believe how stupid you are," type of thing.
Oh.
You know, making these jokes. But here's the stitch: he knows Russian,
Oh dear.
so he knows all these embarrassing things she's saying about him, but he pretends that he doesn't know it. So it's just so funny, just all these situations that she's kind of getting herself into. And I will say, I don't know, have you ever seen the show Shikamori?
No.
Well, in these two shows, they have beautiful, beautiful eyes. And it seems that this studio did both of them. And I just love the way they draw the eyes. They're very powerful and very, very drawn to me. I just love them. So I don't know if you can check out the opening later on or something, but it's just really fun to check out these characters' eyes.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But you could tell she has feelings for him. But then all of a sudden, here comes other girls, right? So you do have this like a little conflict where she gets upset that he's, interacting with other girls, but she can't say it out loud, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the point where I think there's this one scene where they're cleaning up a room, and he's talking with the other girl and discussing stuff, and she's in the corner in Russian saying, "Please pay attention to me. Please pay attention to me." And he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe she's saying this." And he's like, "What do you say?" He's like, "I'm saying we need to hurry up," type of thing. So it has these really cute moments in it. But the other thing that I found really funny is that every single ending for 4 episodes have been a different song.
Oh, I like it when they do that.
So it's Alia singing cover songs for each ending. Episode 4, she sang the ending song to Suzume Haruhi, Hare Hare.
Huh.
And I think in episode 1, she sang the ending song to this other show. I can't remember. I think it was like Don't Tease Me, or it was one of those weird shows. I think it was Don't Tease Me. Oh man, I can't remember the name of that. Dragon should know.
Nagatoro-san?
No, not Nagatoro. It was it's a more cutesy animation where they're I think middle schoolers. But yeah, every single ending's been a different song, and they're all covers. So, and it's sung by the Russian girl. So it's been pretty fun to hear this, and then I'm like searching on YouTube, where does this come from? And then you hear the original, you're like, whoa, it's so different. But it's been a group favorite of ours right now in our anime watch.
Oh.
So, high recommendation. Oh, there it is. Teasing Master Takagi is what Dragon said. I knew he knew it.
Okay. Thanks, Dragon.
The other show, which has been high on the list, is the next one, which is called Wistoria, Wand and Sword, or Tsue no Tsurugi no Wistoria. And this has beautiful animation as well. They went on hiatus for a week, so episode 4 is delayed by a week.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have that, so beware of that. Don't get upset, people, just because they didn't air an episode 1 week. But it's a world that revolves around magic, and magic being the pinnacle of everything. But this world is also very strange because it's like surrounded by high walls, and even the sky and everything is artificial. Even the sun is created by magic. So I don't know what this world is outside of this, but you have our main protagonist, Wilford, or I call him Wilford, but I think it's like something else. But he can't use magic at all. And everything he does to pass this school system is by becoming the best at everything else, his scores in paper and his studies. So he's like has high marks and everything, but in magic he can't do anything, and he's ridiculed for that. And he's made fun of a lot and seen as the black sheep in this whole group, right? And to the point where teachers and everyone wants him out of it. They want to kick him out. But his goal is to become this member of the strongest group to climb this tower. I can't remember what they called it. But he made a promise with one of his friends that they would climb the tower, but his friend supposedly was a genius, and she's already up there at the very top, and she's even creating new magic and just making her name known everywhere, while he's still stuck at the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you find out that what he lacks in magic, he has in everything else. He's basically a strong warrior. He's faster. He can fight. He fights with the sword versus the wand, which is kind of playing towards the title, right? Wand and sword. But it's very fun to watch him try to overcome this diversity with his lack of magic, and how to change everyone's minds to show that he could be worth going up to the tower. But it's going to be very hard for him because everything relies on magic.
That actually sounds like something I might enjoy.
If anything, watch the first episode. It's beautiful.
Okay.
You can I think it's on Crunchyroll, right? Yeah, Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
But other than that, not much else to say. And the last title is another one of those shows that we're talking about that kind of ventures into what's going on in modern days, which is VTubers. Can you remember we're talking about Gura?
Yeah.
So this is all about the VTuber legend and how I went viral after forgetting to turn off my stream. So, of course, it follows this VTuber, Awa Yukihime, they call her, and she's this pure girl, the princess of of her channel, and she's been playing off as this, prim and proper princess, and she hasn't been making it that high within the company as of her VTubers. But at the end of her stream, she accidentally forgets to shut it off because of an error that happens. It kind of crashes something on her system, so she thinks it closes, but it didn't. And now she's in her normal mode, getting alcohol, getting drunk, and watching videos and saying the most embarrassing things you can think of. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And I will admit, some of it was hard for me to understand because they actually use modern terms, but also modern Japanese terms. So I'm like, wait, what does that mean? And they also make some references to some other characters, which I don't know if it's referencing real characters or real VTubers. I'm not 100% sure. So it's kind of hard for me to follow because I'm not 100% into that VTuber thing. I've only seen a few. But it's very interesting because instead of showing us who she is in real life, her character persona is always shown as her. So her streaming persona, and it just has her character as her in her apartment and doing all these silly things. And even when she goes offline to meet other people, they're all in their own like character persona. So there's no, she logs off and now she's this other lady. It's always that one character that shows up.
Oh, that's an unusual choice.
I think they did it really well. And even on the second episode, it's kind of funny because it shows them having an interview. Like there's a table where they're kind of interviewing each other. But if you look in the window behind them, it shows them just in front of their computers talking to each other that way.
Oh.
So, and it goes over a lot of things of like, but here's the thing is that she does all that embarrassing stuff and falls asleep. And when she wakes up the next morning due to phone calls, she's like, she picks up the phone and like, don't panic. Don't say anything. Just do as I say. She's like, what? Turn off your stream. And then that's when she realizes what's happened. And she becomes the top VTuber now because of that in her company.
Yay?
And it's really dumb and silly because now her personality has changed to this basically drunken streams where she's just drinking and answering questions and doing stuff and saying just completely embarrassing things all over. And people are just gobbling it up, I guess. It is kind of hard for me to watch because it has this kind of like, I don't know if you remember Nico Doga, where it had the scrolling text across the screen.
Yeah.
So they do some stuff like that, and then you have the text on the side, and you're trying to read them, but it flashes by pretty fast. So it has a lot of text popping up all over the place because, you know, she's reading chat and stuff like that. So sometimes I have to pause it a lot to try to read everything that's going on. And I've been reading subtitles for a long time, so it goes pretty fast and there's a lot of it. So I'm kind of embarrassed that I have to keep on pausing it so much. Almost brings me back to my Monogatari days where those texts kept on flashing all over the place and you're like, pause, wait, what did it say? But, yeah, that's the end of it, I guess.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to thank Sean and Dragon for hanging out in the chat, and especially to Jessica, who I accidentally muted at the beginning.
Cry.
But thank you for hanging out with me and talking about anime. Unfortunately, Vinny and, what's his name? Albert couldn't make it. So hopefully we can talk to them later and see what their takes on some of the shows.
Yeah.
But don't feel free to join us. All questions should be directed to DragonWarrior, but we do have a Discord channel. If you want to just message us and we can send it to you. And you can join us. We're always talking about anime in there and just a lot of really crazy things. Like, did you know they're making 6 animated shorts for Ridiculous Recoil?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I guess the Terminators getting an animated series.
I saw that too. I don't know how I feel about that.
But Sean and I think Albert tend to go to Japan a little bit often, and they send us some wonderful pictures and stuff and stories of things that happen over there. So it's another fun thing. But other than that, I don't know about any anime movies. Do you?
No.
So I guess we'll talk to everyone at the end of the season. If you're going to Anime NYC, I'll be there. So it's going to be fun. And other than that, I'd like to say bye-bye to everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.